Welcome to your church. Whether you choose to be here for the next hour, to give us your next year, or to give us the rest of your life, you are all welcome here. In a moment, we're going to do that thing where we talk to each other casually. But before then, I have a few announcements, and people will help me if I've forgotten. Clearly, things are a little bit different here, unless it's your first day, and this is how we always do it. But it's not true. This is a new setup. And we're doing our water communion. It's going to be a little bit different, and we'll talk more about that later. We are going to have all of us in the service for the entire time, whether you're 3 months old, 3 years old, or 117. Please embrace that idea. You'll enjoy the service a lot more. Here are some announcements. There are quilts on the walls. They could be yours. You can bid on them. If you've bid on them before or you bid on them today and you win them, take them home today. Thank you. Jacob, you come on in if I don't say something right. Yeah, no, you need to do this. I'll mess it all up. We want some food, we want snacks, we want beverages, and Jacob's going to tell you where and why.
I want to win the lottery too, so just throw that in there. Hey everybody, my name is Jacob Johns. Doing these encampments next weekend. The first one we're doing is going to be on the Kalispell Reservation in Cusick. It's going to be a 3-day encampment. We're bringing out a bunch of medicine people who are speaking from traditional backgrounds. I have people coming in from New Zealand, Montreal, Alaska, Arizona, North Dakota, and Spokane. And we're holding space traditionally with the Nez Perce tribe in the Colville, Kalispell, and Spokane to work on post-traumatic stress, healing historical trauma, suicide aftercare, and suicide prevention for people. I thought he was talking to ask me a question. But we have communal. We're going to have a communal food, a communal snack area that we need people to donate to. The Colville tribe donated 20 salmon. That 20 salmon is going to feed everybody who comes to the encampment, so that people can come and engage freely in a sacred space. I'm actually going to be leaving here Spokane next tomorrow to start a sacred fire that we're going to have lit for 4 days before we start ceremony. So we're going to be creating a sacred space for people to engage in a special area, and we need help with food. So if anybody has any snacked items, looking for soda, bottled water, Gatorade, stuff like that, snack items that we can put up there, fruit. And also we need help getting more porta potties. We only have 5 right now, and we need 5 more according to the tribe in order to have a good time.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jacob. And now, we can't linger any longer. You must greet each other. Please say hello to someone next to you. Thank you. I need a little help. Oh, thank you. Now, no, we don't do that. We can share more stories with each other at the social hour. You know what would be really great if we could maximize the circle experience and have a few of you move over into here. So you can do that voluntarily in the next 32 seconds. Or thank you, Gary. Way to stand up. I see you talking about it. Have you sold them yet? Come on, you guys. I'll call you out by name. Thank you.
We now turn from our warm and informal greeting of one another to formally begin our service by lighting our chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, the symbol of our unity and solidarity, of our openness and inclusion, of our community and individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and a beacon of hope to those in need. May it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth is lost, and cast a shadow of doubt wherever truth has been found.
Our opening reflection this morning comes from Elizabeth Lerner McKay. As drops of rain that find each other and build to become a track, a rivulet, a stream, a river, a sea, so are we drawn together, so are we fortunate to find each other, so are we bound together on this shared passage toward an unknown ocean and eternity.
Good morning. So you may have noticed in your order of service that instead of singing together this morning, it says that we're making music together. And that is because we are not just singing, we're going to be making music with our whole bodies. It's going to be a little bit of an exercise in trust. So I will lead you through it. If you can't see me, watch your neighbor. And when we're done with this rain exercise, Deb is going to teach us a chant through call and response. Our screen is not working, and it's not in your hymnals, so listen carefully. So we'll begin. Please stand as you are willing and able.
Call and response. I take delight in the peace of the river. I take delight in the peace of the river that flows so gently to the strength of the sea. That flows so gently to the strength of the sea. And I take delight in the love that is flowing. And I take delight in the love that is flowing. Just like a river between you and me. Just like a river between you and me. I take delight in the peace of the river. I take delight in the peace of the river that flows so gently to the strength of the sea. That flows so gently to the strength of the sea. And I take delight in the love that is flowing. And I take delight in the love that is flowing. Just like a river between you and me. Just like a river between you and me. All together. I take delight in the peace of the river that flows so gently to the strength of the sea. And I take delight in the love that is flowing. Just like a river between you and me. I take delight in the peace of the river that flows so gently to the strength of the sea. And I take delight in the love that is flowing. Just like a river between you and me. Once more. I take delight in the peace of the river that flows so gently to the strength of the sea. And I take delight in the love that is flowing, just like a river between you and me.
Hello. Purple is with me today. If anybody wants to come up and encircle me, you can. Yeah, there you are. Here, I'll make room for you right here. You guys want to come right here? There you go. All right. Welcome. Great to have all of you. And as I always like to bring a special friend with me, and today we have a friend to all of us, my friend Purple. And Purple, how are you doing today? Purple, how's it going? Purple, how are you? Oh, no, I lost count again. Oh, I'm sorry, you were counting. What are you counting? I'm trying to count to 1 billion. You're trying to count to 1 billion? Yeah, but I keep getting distracted. Last night, I made it almost all the way to 100, and then I fell asleep. Oh, okay. Well, I tell you what, counting to 1 billion, I don't think anybody's ever counted to 1 billion before. That's a very big number. Well, I'd better get started. Well, no. Let me try to help you understand. So how old are you right now? Remind me. 6 years old. You're 6 years old. So if you started counting to 1 billion right now, without stopping ever, by the time you were done, you'd be 37 years old. How old are you? You're 9? You would be 40 years old by the time you're done. You better hurry. That's a pretty big number, so I don't think you should count to 1 billion. Well, I better get started. 1, 2, 3, 4. Purple, we don't have time for you to count to 1 billion today. Let me see if I can help with this. Oh, did you guys hear the news that something wonderful happened at Mars this week? Did you hear that? What was it? The eclipse? No, you're thinking of Mars in outer space. I'm talking about Mars in Virginia, the candy company. Yeah. So this week, the Mars company promised to contribute $1 billion to combat global warming. That's a lot of money. Purple, do you know how much $1 billion is? How big is this? Is it as big as an elephant? It's even bigger than an elephant. Do you know $1 billion weighs as much as 400 elephants? That's huge. It is huge. In fact, $1 billion, you could cover 23 football fields with $1 billion and still have enough money left over to travel to Virginia and get a Mars bar for yourself. Yeah. $1 billion is so much that if you lined $1 billion up end to end, you could wrap them around the earth 4 times. That's pretty darn big, isn't it? That's really big. Well, I guess I'd better start counting again. 1, 2, 3, 4. We better interrupt here, right? Because this is never going to happen. So I tell you what, instead of counting to 1 billion, is our way of saying thanks to such great corporate responsibility to a company that cares big enough to be 31 years, or big enough to cover 23 football fields, or big enough to weigh as much as 400 elephants, big enough to go around the world. How many times? 4 times that we should support that company. So, today, instead of counting to 1 billion, we're going to have our ushers come forward, and they're going to hand out Mars candies to everybody here today. Now, for those of you that are here, be sure and ask your parents if it's okay that you have them now. Check for peanut allergies. And if you're a parent getting candy, be sure and check with your kids that that's okay. All right? Okay, Purple, thank you very much. And we're going to get you a candy bar. 3, 4. I'll see you when you're how old? What's 31 plus your age? How old are you right now? You're 8, so you would be 39 by the time you get through counting to 1 billion. So I'll see you then, okay? Looking forward to it. Bye-bye. Thank you. Hello.
Okay. Now, normally I don't introduce the offertory, but I am today. We are dedicating all of today's music, and especially this offertory, to Mickey Thompson, who was a member of this church for over 20 years. And Mickey died in May, and we miss him very much. Mickey has been in this church for many, many years. He was in the choir for over 20 years, sang with us. And in fact, one of the reasons that we picked this particular song was because those of us who sang this song with him remember his voice being added to this song. He was a bass baritone, and he sang this bass baritone solo with the rest of the basses, and I can still hear him in my mind, and I think other choir members can too. We were going to do for you and for Mickey the River Song, and we will gratefully receive your offering. Thank you.
What lies ahead?
This morning's meditation will be a guided one. Please join as is comfortable for you. Find a comfortable way to sit. Take a deep breath in and slowly let it out. Feel the way your chest expands as you breathe deeply and slowly. Feel your feet on the ground and the chair against your back supporting you. Now, slowly raise your hand so that it is palm up and flat in front of you. Look at the lines on your palm. Use your pointer finger on the other hand and begin to slowly trace those lines. Are some of them deeper than others? Do they all connect? Sometimes, when I look at the palm of my hand, all of the lines remind me of a map of rivers and streams. Rivers and streams move and change over time, and I know that my hands will too. But the way that the lines connect also reminds me of the connection I carry with me to who I have been, who I will become, and the people around me. Turn to someone next to you and look at their palm. Do the lines on their hand look like yours? Do some of them look different? What stories might be in their lines? What connections can you see in their hands? If it feels comfortable for you, go ahead and hold the hand of the person next to you. Feel in the lines in their hand that their journey has been complex and difficult and joyous, and that you have both been led here, right now, to be in beloved community together. Gathering together in community and faith does not just mean that we come together to grow and explore and work for a better world. We do all of that. But it means that we also have a home base. Summer is often the time in our lives when we leave our home community for adventure. We take advantage of the sun and find our church in the woods, in the rivers, and on the beaches, or even just our backyard with a book. And it is sometimes important to leave, to explore and learn new things, and try different ways of being in the world. It gives us more and varied perspective. So, when we come back to our home base, our source, we are hopefully rejuvenated and excited about the work that we do together. We can see our whole from a slightly different angle and bring to one another our experience, new ideas, and excitement. A couple of families from our congregation would like to share what it means for them to have this spiritual home and this beloved community to always come back to. I'd like to invite Rochelle Strother and her daughter Sophia forward to speak.
Good morning. My name is Rochelle Strother, and this is my daughter, Sophia.
Hi.
Like some of you in this room, I was raised Catholic, along with my brother. My mom was a Catholic, and is to this day. And growing up, if any of you were any former Catholics or still practicing in the room, I remember very clearly that I was taught not to question as a Catholic. I was taught to just believe what we were told and to practice what we were told by this person in a robe on an altar. And growing up, I never really agreed with that. And I remember asking some pointed questions that were not well received by family members and other people in our church. And as I grew older, I continued with my questioning and still tried to have a faith. I was trying very hard, especially in my 20s, to have a faith that made me feel as if I related to other people, because I so desperately wanted to be a Christian, because that's what I understood to be the right way. And I had many doubts about that, doubts about what was the right way, the right path or river for me. And when I had an opportunity in my life about 4 years ago, upon coming back to Spokane after being gone for many years, I had a memory in my mind of a 3-minute conversation I had with a young man in college who had told me about Unitarian Universalism. It was a very brief conversation that highlighted this belief in a universal spirit or creation without the pressure of trying to conform to any one belief. And I remembered that conversation because it felt so open and freeing, and yet I forgot about it and went on my life because at that time I still was very entrenched in my beliefs. So having remembered that, I looked up the Unitarian Universalist Church in the phone book, found this place, came to church, and it happened to be the John Denver service. And I remember sitting right back there and thinking to myself, this cannot be a church. There is no way that this place that's so lively and so spiritual and so much fun to be in could possibly be a church. And I said, I don't care, I'm coming back. And ever since then, this place has been my home for Sophia. It's been a place where we can question. And that is one of the things about this place that has given me most value, that we are encouraged to doubt in a way that helps us to think more critically about the world and about ourselves, a place in which we are asked to be more reflective, to be more responsible. And I don't think I have ever found that in another place. It's been a place where I truly feel like I can raise my daughter to have the kind of values that I think we most need in this world. And whenever I walk in this place and I look up here at those words that guide us, and I think about our 7 principles, I feel very much safe in the comfort that I'm not alone in my beliefs. And this is a place that I'm not alone in and continues to reaffirm me all the time.
I wanted to say that the thing that I like about this church is I like the puppets, and I like
She comes for the puppets and for Todd. And the Mars candy.
And I like the playground. I like going to Aria, and I like all the fun crafts that we do, and the Harry Potter theme, and that's why I like the Unitarian Universalist Church.
Thank you for making us your home.
Thank you, Michelle and Sophia. Now I will invite Anna Marie Martin and maybe Lucas forward.
I don't know where Lucas is. Which is... Oh, he went outside? Thank you. Thank you. I don't know where to stand. I want to stand with my back to as few people as possible, so I'm going to stand right here. I think. Whoa, okay. So after the kerfuffle of Aught 15, I was invited by my sister-in-law to attend her church, a non-denominational Christian church, so we went. And I dropped the kids off at their childcare, and I enjoyed the sermon, and I went to pick up the kids after it was over. And the young woman who had watched Lucas was positively apoplectic. Lucas doesn't believe in God, she said. I know, I said. But he said he doesn't believe in God. I know, I said, he believes in cheetahs. Just a few weeks before that experience, Lucas had started to take delight in getting a reaction out of people when he said that. I don't believe in God. I believe in cheetahs. So clearly, this young woman rose to the bait. At that awkward, uncomfortable moment, I realized where my spiritual home was, here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane. Here, no one would blink at Lucas's declaration. Of course you believe in cheetahs, honey, is what you would say. When I joined this church in 2006, after moving here from New York City, all I really wanted was a place to go where I could agree with the sentiments expressed on the bumper stickers in the cars on the parking lot. That's all I wanted. I didn't realize that this church had so much more to offer than just a liberal home for ex-New Yorkers, stranded ex-New Yorkers. This church offers community, a life of integrity lived together. This church offers a vision of social justice where all are welcomed, all are included, and all are valued. This church offers love and acceptance, even when it's hard and we don't all agree. The poet Rumi has a saying, if you are irritated by every rub, how will your mirror become polished? So after the kerfuffle happened, I was mad and I was hurt. But I was invited to share my story with several members of the church and the pastor. And I was told that my experience mattered and that I shouldn't give up on the community. The experience of being seen and heard changed me. When I shared my experience, the conversation changed the culture of this church to be more inclusive, more welcoming. Because the kerfuffle of Ot 15 is not the last word. The love and acceptance of this community is. I have been seen here and heard here and loved here. And my children have been seen here and heard here and loved here. And that makes this place, this community, a sacred, transformative space where I will return again and again. For this community and all that it means, all that it gives, I am grateful, so very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Water communions are done in many, many different ways throughout UU congregations. As was said at the beginning of this service, this year's water communion at UUCS will be a little different. You have probably taken notice of the 4 bowls around the circle. Each of these represents a cardinal direction, which in turn symbolize letting go, growth, new beginnings, or joy. We are going to call the 4 directions one by one, and when you hear the direction that best represents your experience this summer, either literally or figuratively, simply line up behind that bowl and pour your water into it. After you have poured your water, go ahead and return to your seat via the aisle to your right. With love and joy and affirmation of the home that we create together, we will now begin our water communion.
We begin in the south. For the Quero Peruvian people, the south is represented by a serpent or great boa, and the shedding of our old wounds, ego, and parts of our physical body that no longer serve our higher selves. In some yoga practices, the south is also associated with rest and letting go of our attachments to our mind, body, and senses. Similarly, in the Lakota tradition, the south is a source of life and also where people turn when they pass into the spirit world. If your travels took you south this summer, or you experienced a letting go of some kind, I invite you to contribute your water to our larger whole. You can come forward and put water in if this resonates with you.
Next, the West. In some pagan traditions, the West is connected to emotional health and intimacy. In the Quiero Peruvian culture, the West is also associated with emotional healing and intimacy, and represented by Sister Jaguar. If your travels took you west this summer, or you experienced emotional healing and growth, I invite you to contribute your water to our larger whole.
And the East. The Lakota tradition connects the rising of the sun to new beginnings and new understanding, as the sun shines light for us to see things as they really are. In some yoga practices, the East represents inspiration and a time of awakening. Some pagan cultures also use the East to represent the power of the mind. If your travels took you east this summer, or you gained some new understanding, or began a new stage in your life, I invite you to contribute your water to our larger whole.
finally, the North. Celtic tradition uses the North to symbolize home and security. The Quero Peruvian tradition associates the North with the royal hummingbird, joy and magic, and infinite possibility. In some yoga practices, the North is representative of stability and unshakable conviction. If your travels took you north this summer, if you had a staycation, or if you found a new stability and joy in your life, I invite you to contribute your water to our larger whole. It starts with a drop, then a trickle, a burble, a rush of water, bubbling towards its destination, and finally the wide, endless sea. All rivers run to the sea. Today, you brought water and poured it into a common bowl, though our experiences have differed. These waters mingle, signifying our common humanity. Today you came and shared in this sacred community. May you depart this sacred space, hearts filled with hope for new beginnings, a fresh start. Go forth, but return to this community, where rivers of tears may be shed, where dry souls are watered, where your joy bubbles, where your life cup overflows, where deep in your spirit you have found in this place a home. All rivers run to the sea.
And let's wrap things up with singing a song together. Please find your turquoise hymnal and share with those around you. We're going to sing number 1064, Blue Boat Home, a very favorite of this congregation. Blue Boat Home. Please rise as you're willing and able. Though below me I feel no ocean, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart will say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, and the great winds urging me on. Greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
After the service, please follow us out to return our water to the earth in the memorial garden. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we hold in our hearts until we meet again. Amen. Blessed be. Salam alaikum and shalom.
Shalom.